Iran's pursuit of the J-10CE fighter jet from China represents one of the most significant shifts in its military aviation policy in decades. The country's current air force relies almost entirely on outdated platforms, many of which were purchased before the 1979 revolution or acquired in limited numbers during the 1980s and early 1990s. These aircraft are now facing structural fatigue, technological obsolescence, and limited combat value in any modern air engagement. As regional rivals continue to field increasingly advanced platforms, Iran's leadership has concluded that maintaining the current state of its air force is not sustainable if it intends to remain a serious military power in the region. This assessment has led Iranian defense officials to prioritize the acquisition of modern multirole fighters, with the J-10CE emerging as a primary focus. The J-10CE, the export variant of China's J-10C, is a single-engine, delta-wing fighter equipped with advanced avionics, digital flight controls, and an AESA radar. It is capable of conducting both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions with a wide array of modern munitions. The aircraft has already been exported to Pakistan, where it has seen successful integration and early operational deployment. For Iran, this jet offers a leap of several generations compared to its current inventory. In practical terms, the J-10CE would be Iran's first truly modern, network-capable fighter jet, capable of conducting multirole operations in contested environments with greater precision and survivability than any aircraft Iran now possesses. The appeal is not just technological. Politically and diplomatically, China remains one of the few world powers willing to engage with Iran on military cooperation while maintaining enough autonomy from Western pressure to consider such deals. Iran's traditional military partners have either withdrawn or limited support. This has led to years of frustration in Tehran, as it repeatedly found itself unable to modernize despite identifying clear national security needs. After years of promises from other suppliers falling short, China now appears to be Iran's most realistic route to obtaining capable frontline fighters. Still, the process is fraught with obstacles. First is the question of cost. The J-10CE is not inexpensive. Each unit is estimated to cost around $50 million, and the total package, including maintenance tools, spare parts, pilot training, simulators, ground equipment, and munitions, would increase the total investment substantially. For a country under heavy financial pressure and limited access to international banking systems, making this kind of purchase is extremely challenging. Historically, Iran has tried to bypass monetary restrictions by offering oil shipments as payment. While this form of barter trade has occasionally worked in the past, it has proven unattractive to major defense exporters like China, which prioritize financial transparency, secure transactions, and long-term service contracts funded in hard currency. The mismatch between what Iran can offer and what China's defense sector expects has repeatedly delayed or disrupted arms talks. Another issue lies in the compatibility of the J-10CE with Iran's current military doctrine, command structure, and defense systems. The aircraft is built to operate in a digitally networked battlespace, using advanced data links, shared targeting information, and electronic warfare systems to coordinate with other air and ground assets. Iran, by contrast, has no operational experience with modern aircraft of this class and no integrated systems capable of immediately supporting the J-10C's full performance envelope. That means, even if the jets were delivered tomorrow, Iran would have to spend several years building out the necessary operational infrastructure, runway upgrades, maintenance hangars, diagnostic systems, secure communications, software compatibility layers, and trained technical personnel. The time and expense of setting up this ecosystem is often underestimated, but without it, the aircraft would operate far below its potential. Pilot training is a further limitation. Iran's existing Air Force pilots have been flying older generation aircraft for decades. Transitioning from analog cockpits and manual flight controls to fly-by-wire systems, glass cockpits, and multifunction displays requires retraining at a fundamental level. It is not just a question of flight skills, but of adapting to new concepts of operation, especially networked warfare, threat prioritization, electronic countermeasures, and precision targeting. China may provide some pilot training support, as it has done with other clients, but this would likely occur under strict limitations, and language and procedural differences could add further complexity. Iran would also be dependent on Chinese support for spare parts and software updates, which would give Beijing indirect leverage over Tehran's future operational capacity. That reality could reduce the long-term independence of Iran's air force, a politically sensitive issue for a country that places high value on self-sufficiency in defense. Iran may attempt to locally service or eventually reverse engineer some of the aircraft's systems, but this process would take years, and Chinese firms may restrict technical access or implement controls to prevent unauthorized modifications or duplication. From the Chinese side, the decision to sell advanced fighters to Iran is not straightforward. While Beijing has maintained pragmatic ties with Tehran, it also has growing strategic relationships with countries that view Iran as a threat, including Gulf states and Israel. These countries are significant buyers of Chinese technology and play important roles in China's Belt and Road Initiative. Selling modern fighters to Iran risks upsetting this balance. Chinese policymakers have historically avoided major arms transfers that could lead to accusations of destabilizing already volatile regions. If China were to proceed with a J-10CE sale to Iran, it would likely do so quietly, in limited numbers, and with carefully worded agreements that restrict transfer of key technologies or prohibit resale to third parties. Iran appears to be aware of this sensitivity and has adjusted its approach accordingly. Rather than seek a large-scale fleet that would alarm regional actors or trigger a diplomatic response, Iranian officials are now reportedly aiming to purchase a smaller batch of around 36 to 40 aircraft. This more modest request may be designed to test China's willingness without pushing diplomatic boundaries too far. It could also serve as a foundation for future expansion if the initial integration proves successful. However, even a small fleet would carry major symbolic and strategic value for Iran. Possession of a squadron of modern fighters would allow it to protect key sites, conduct higher-quality intercept missions, and signal a degree of modernization that could affect the calculations of adversaries. It would also help Iran train a new generation of pilots and engineers in modern systems, laying the groundwork for possible future acquisitions or indigenous efforts in advanced aviation. But this process will be slow. From contract signing to full operational capability, the cycle can take 3 to 5 years, especially in a military environment starting from a low technological baseline. During that time, geopolitical conditions could shift, supply chains could be interrupted, or diplomatic pressure could increase. Iran's own economic challenges may also affect its ability to maintain the aircraft once acquired. For all these reasons, the path to acquiring and fielding the J-10CE is long, uncertain, and vulnerable to both external and internal disruption. Iran's desire to obtain the J-10CE reflects a clear understanding of its current air power limitations in a logical attempt to address them. The aircraft offers capabilities that Iran urgently needs, and China is one of the few suppliers that can provide them. But the deal is more than a simple buyer-seller exchange. It's a complex arrangement shaped by politics, economics, defense planning, and long-term regional strategy. Even if it succeeds, the immediate impact will be limited by scale and integration time. The real significance lies in the long-term shift it represents, toward reactivating Iran's conventional air power after decades of stagnation. Whether that shift becomes reality depends on decisions being made in Tehran and Beijing under conditions that remain highly fluid.